People think security guard jobs are easy, sit in a chair, watch cameras, drink coffee all night. That's exactly what I used to think too. Until I started working the night shift at Blackwood Medical Center after what I experienced there, I quit security work completely. And even now, years later, walking through a hospital at night still makes me uncomfortable. This happened when I was 24 years old. I had just moved to a new city and desperately needed money. One of my friends told me a private hospital nearby was hiring night security guards because the previous guard had suddenly quit. The interview itself felt strange. The supervisor only asked me a few questions. You okay working overnight shifts? Yeah. Then he looked at me for a few seconds and asked, do you scare easily? I laughed a little. Not real. He slowly nodded. Good. At the time, I thought it was just a random question. Later, I realized it was a warning. During the daytime, Blackwood Medical Center looked completely normal. Doctors walked through busy hallways, nurses talked at the front desks, and patients filled the waiting rooms. But at night, the entire place felt different. Most of the lights stayed dim, the hallways became silent, and the air always smelled like disinfectant mixed with something metallic. My shift started at 11 p.m. and ended at 7 a.m. for the first few nights. Nothing unusual happened. I mostly watched security cameras, checked locked doors, and escorted nurses through empty parts of the building. Then strange things started happening. One night, while watching the monitors, I noticed a figure standing at the end of hallway C, a tall, shadowy person. Completely motionless, I immediately went to check it out, but when I reached the hallway, nobody was there. I figured it was probably a camera glitch. The next night, it appeared again, same hallway, same motionless figure this time. I radioed another guard named Marcus. You seeing this too? Static crackled through the radio before Marcus answered. Yeah. Don't go down there alone. The seriousness in his voice instantly made me uneasy. When Marcus finally met me near the hallway, he looked nervous too. You've seen this before? I asked. He stayed quiet for a moment before saying, just ignore it if you can. That answer stayed in my head all night. A week later, things got much worse. Around 2:30 a.m., I was sitting in the security office when one of the monitors suddenly turned to static. Camera 12 hallway C, then another camera went black, then another. Within seconds, every camera connected to hallway C stopped working. Marcus immediately stood up from his chair. Oh no. The fear on his face looked real. Then suddenly, the radio sitting on the desk activated by itself. At first, there was only static. Then a weak female voice whispered, security. My entire body froze. The voice came again. Please, help me. It sounded like someone crying. Then the radio suddenly went silent. The room became painfully quiet. I looked at Marcus. What was that? His face had gone pale. That voice has been happening for years, he said quietly. Chills ran through my arms. Marcus finally explained everything. 5 years ago, a woman died during surgery in room C214. I stayed silent while he continued. There was massive blood loss, he said. Right before she died, she kept pressing the emergency button and begging for help. The security office suddenly felt colder. Marcus grabbed his flashlight. Come on. Where? Hallway C. Honestly, I didn't want to go, but protocol was protocol. When the elevator doors opened onto the 3rd floor, my heartbeat instantly sped up. The hallway was almost completely dark except for red emergency lights glowing along the walls. And the creepiest part, every single room door in hallway C was open. Not one of them was closed. Marcus looked disturbed. That's not normal. We slowly walked down the hallway. Then I noticed something even worse. All the hospital beds were empty, even though patients had been assigned to those rooms earlier that night. Where did everyone go? I whispered. Marcus didn't answer. Then we heard a woman crying softly somewhere farther down the hallway. Weak, broken. The sound froze both of us instantly. Then came the whisper. Please. My hands tightened around the flashlight. The voice was coming from room C214. Marcus looked genuinely terrified now. We should call the police, he whispered. But before either of us could move, the door to room C214 slowly creaked open by itself. The crying immediately stopped. Silence. Then we heard footsteps inside the room. Slow, dragging footsteps. Marcus raised his flashlight toward the doorway. And what we saw changed my life forever. A woman stood beside the hospital bed. Her hospital gown was covered in blood. Her head hung at an unnatural angle, and her arms were bent backwards. I stopped breathing. Then she slowly lifted her head toward us. Her eyes were completely black, and then she smiled. A smile stretched far too wide across her face. Marcus grabbed my arm and screamed, "RUN." The second we turned around, the hallway lights exploded. Glass shattered everywhere, and behind us, fast footsteps. Whatever that thing was, it was sprinting directly toward us. We ran toward the elevator as fast as we could. Behind me, I could hear choking sounds mixed with horrible laughter. The elevator doors finally started closing right before they shut completely. I looked back one last time. The woman was standing at the end of the hallway, completely still, just staring at us, smiling. The next morning, I quit the job before leaving. I asked the supervisor one final question. Why don't you shut hallway C down permanently? He stayed quiet for a few seconds, then he looked me directly in the eyes and said, because every security guard who worked at hallway eventually saw her. He paused, even the ones who never believed the story.